Hello, everyone. Great Monday evening and welcome back. We are officially back. I know you've missed us, right? Conversations with Chosen Pen. You have been tossing and turning, and you've been saying, when is Dr. Norma coming back? When is Anissa coming back? Well, we're back. We're back, and we've got a lot to share. And today we have two fabulous hosts. You've met them in previous recordings, but we've got a lot more to share with you. We have had a lot to happen since our last live. And so today's episode, as well as the one that we're going to host on next week, is going to be a recap of our most recent travels to Africa. We wanted to update you on everything that's phenomenal about Africa, what we've managed to accomplish in Africa, and the experience of Africa, because we want you to join us next year in March. So without further ado, let's get started. Dr. Norma, you want to say hello to everyone?
Hello. It's so good to be back. It's been a while, but we really have an exciting program for you today. So just stay tuned. And these ladies, along with Miss Anissa and myself, will share all the phenomenal things that we did while in Africa.
Thank you, Dr. Norma. So today we have Dr. Carol Harrison and Miss Trezia Wallace. They were a part of the Africa team. And so we're going to get feedback from everybody because this is going to be kind of like a smorgasbord of conversation today. But before we do that, I have a special message I want to share with you all the way from Africa. And I pray that my technical skills actually work. Okay, hold one moment. Let's see if I can get this to play. A special message. Here we go. All right, so I have some of the great students here holding all of your phenomenal books, and they have a special message for you.
Thank you, everyone from Robin Hills Primary School.
That's a special thank you from the students of Robin Hills Primary School, the school that Chosen Pen has adopted. A lot of exciting things have been going on since the last time we told you even about this collaboration. So let's just jump right in. That was our first stop. Once we landed in Johannesburg and caught up on sleep, let's be clear, we had to rest. Once we got rested, our first stop was to the school. Dr. Norma, let's start with you because this was your vision from the get-go. Talk about some of the logistics, I guess, leading up to that day. And then Dr. Carol and Tracy, we would jump in and talk about the experience of it all.
Well, leading up to that day, I suppose was our first trip that we made to Africa in September. And we visited one of the schools. Well, really, we visited one school, but that school had several students in the audience with us. But at that time, we were also told that some of the schools also needed support. They needed literacy support. And they were asking, or their people were asking for help. And of course, being that all of us love children and we love to support children, and one of my main things is to make sure that all students are ready to be able to read and be successful in society. So of course we at Chosen Pen jumped on the idea of helping those students and put forth an application to choose, to have a school. And we were selected to take a school, and that school is Robin Hills Primary School. So along the principal and the head of schools there in Johannesburg, South Africa, contacted us and said that we would like for you to do this, but our main need is the library, which had been soaked, rained on, mildewed. All the books had to be thrown out and discarded. Along with, if we had a heart to do this, has been Miss Carol's heart to do this, was with the electronic piece, with computers and a computer lab. And of course, Miss Tracy jumped in there and talked about doing some things with making sure they have fresh vegetables, which were all needs of the school. And of course, we'll come back to me at some point in time to talk about my big baby, which was the Forgiveness Garden.
Absolutely. So yes, let's talk about that. We got the school on board. The library was like project number one, and then it migrated to the computer lab, and then of course the Forgiveness Garden. So I told y'all it was a smorgasbord of stuff, right? So Dr. Carol Harrison jumped in like a bulldog, y'all. I'm gonna tell you something. She was phenomenal. Look, she had people buying books who never thought about buying books before. So Dr. Carol, come on in and tell us what that was like for you to get that project up and going. You did a fantastic job of spearheading it. But not only that, I mean, it was the experience of it all. Oh my God. Just tell us tell us, just share your heart.
So when we came back in September, I was like, okay, I'm going to take on this project is to get the books. So it was just by word of mouth and talking to people and telling them what we were
Mhm.
trying to do. And just people just, when they said it was something for kids, hey, they said, oh, count me in. I'll give you this money. Go get the books. And some of them even took me to the bookstore. So we picked out books and everything. And we ended up with like 700 books. And so when we got ready to go this time, we were trying to figure out how we were going to get them all shipped over there. So like 2 days before we got ready to fly, I said, well, I guess we're going to have to take them over in the suitcases. And so I went down to the Delta counter and I told the lady what we were trying to do. We were chosen Penn and we had adopted a school over in Johannesburg and we were trying to get over 700 books over there. So I said we'll probably have about we were between 14 to 10 suitcase full of books. So she said, "Oh, no problem. Delta would be more than happy. We normally help anybody that's doing any kind of missionary or charity work." So the day we flew out, we got to the airport. We had all our books. They shipped them, put them on the plane, and we ended up in Johannesburg. So that Friday morning when we went to the school, we got out and the first thing we saw was Dr. Norma's forgiveness garden, which was beautiful. And then the vegetable garden that Tracy Wallace had, Miss Wallace, had suggested so they can learn about food and growing their own vegetables. And then we went upstairs to the library and media center and the kids were waiting there for us and we started taking out the books. The kids were excited. I mean, you should have seen their eyes. They were so excited about the books and everything. And to me, it was a crying moment, but I said I wasn't going to cry in front of the kids.
Too
But
late.
it
Too
just,
late.
Mhm.
it just made me feel so good that we're doing something for children. You know, everybody should have access to books. I think everybody should learn to read, so especially in this 21st century. And so I was just happy, and we're going to continue to support them. And later on in the briefing, we'll talk about the IT support that we're trying to do for them.
Thanks so much, Carol. Carol said she tried not to cry. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, I
She
mean, it was
tried
like
real hard.
as soon as she crossed over the threshold, she was crying. The principal at the school gave remarks and she started crying. And then, it's kind of like laughter. As soon as one person starts, everybody starts. So all of us was over like, do you have any tissue? I need clinic too. So Tracy, come on, jump in and give us your feedback as well.
Look, hello everyone. Again, this was amazing trip. Part two of an amazing trip for absolutely a great cause. Like First Lady said, or excuse me, Dr. Norma said earlier, um, all kids should, and Dr. Carol Hairston, all kids should have access to books. Literacy is very important here in the States, but to go to a country where literacy is still being, all kids do not have access to. So we want to make sure that we, with Chosen Pen Publishing, are there for these students so they can be successful. When we went back last fall, the students let us know how important reading was to them and writing. That was really happy. We were all happy about that they wanted to write as well. So when Dr. Curl said, you know what, I'm going to make sure not only will they get the books, it's going to be books with people of color so they can see themselves in these books. We're going to do some STEM books. We're going to do some, just a variety of books for them to not just learn, just arithmetic and, how to read, how to write, but we're going to do some science. We're going to do technology. We're going to do some art books. We're going to do some, nursery rhyme books. We're going to do a variety of books. It's just so they can just be happy when they read these books. And then a lot of the kids wanted chapter books. Whatever they asked for, Dr. Harrison wanted to make sure that we we got those books to them. And it was so just going into that space and seeing the kids' faces light up, the librarian's face light up, and she immediately started crying. I mean, we had just suitcases after suitcase after suitcase rolling in. They were they would, I mean, everybody's hearts were heavy. The students was, as soon as the books came out of the bags, they started reading. And that y'all, I can't make it up. It was the
It
best
was.
experience in
It
my
was
life.
so good. It was so
Yes,
good. So let
yes.
me plug in one or two other things about that trip to amen to kind of like add to what you all have said. Carolyn, Dr. Carol, correct me if I'm wrong. We took about what 700 books to
Yes.
South Africa. So she already told you what that experience was like. You should have seen us trying to haul. We would haul in luggage everywhere. But anyway, 700 books. I want to say thank you to quite a few of people that I know right here in the city of Fayetteville. I don't want to start calling names because if I do, I'm sure to miss out on some people. I don't want to omit anyone, but we had people that we know here and people that are connected with Chosen Pens from from various other perspectives that sent books. They either mailed the book to Dr. Carol Harrison's house, or we picked them up. And so I did my very best to get pictures with the children holding the books. When I tell you these kids had smiles from the time we arrived, and here's the thing I want to also emphasize: the children were on break, like their spring break or their spring break or what have you. So they were technically not even supposed to be at school. But the librarian mentioned that she had several students who had been like the library helpers with getting the library together and helping to organize everything to get the library up and going. And because they knew we were coming, these children said they wanted to come back to the school to be there when we arrived. And not only did they do that, we were told that they came back the next day because they wanted to read the books. Dr. Kara Harrison, we had the opportunity to do a reading circle and sit and read one of the books to the children.
Mm-hmm.
What to see kids get excited about books, I was like, this is not an Xbox. This is not a PX. This is not our kids get excited about that kind of thing. These children wanted books. And then for one of the children to open the book and said, oh my good, oh, they have people in them that look like me. That was it. That was it for me, because that's what they wanted, and that's what we knew was important. So we made sure we had that, and they were ecstatic about that. So I don't know. It's just the overall feeling of something as simple as taking a book to a child. That the atmosphere of that room was just so thick. And then we went into the computer lab. Dr. Carol, you got to talk about the computer lab. Let's talk about the computer lab as it stands and what's the next phase of that and supporting them with technology.
Okay, so all the computers, I couldn't remember how many were in there,
I think it
but
was 25.
there was 25 computers
Mhm.
up. Um, they were ready to be used, and I guess when they come back to school after their 3 weeks or 4 weeks break, they'll be able to use it. And so that was amazing because, like I said, they don't have access like our children do. They can go home and get on the internet and stuff. They don't have that type of access over there. And so we were talking, and we want to make sure that they have tablets, Samsung tablets, because we want to have a curriculum done. So for the STEM program, plus we want them to be able to have books online where we can have a weekly, or I think it's a weekly podcast, if I'm not
Weekly,
mistaken.
right? Yes.
And so we'll read a book, and then, we'll be able to discuss it with the students. So now we're in our next phase of trying to get 120 Samsung tablets. So right now we each were tasked to get 10 people to donate $100 a piece, plus more because we want to get 120.
Mm-hmm.
And so far since we've been back for about almost 2 weeks now. We have a lot of people jumping on board. They're committing to do that. So I'm really excited about that because to be able to see them and talk to them, and they have what do you call that? I e-pals, where they'll be able to talk to
Repel, yes.
the academy here that we have at New Life. It's going to be wonderful, and just to have story time with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I thought about something as you were talking, Dr. Carol. One of my former pastors used to say, he said this often. He was like, God does not count numbers, but he makes numbers count. And to think about what was accomplished between September and March, our goal was, I think, to hit almost 1,000 books, and we were over 700 books. And this is just not like a major team. It's only like a handful of us that were working to get these books and get these books collected. Of course, with you at the helm of it, to get you whipped us into shape, Dr. Carol. You got us on board. And then now we've only been back 2 weeks. We landed in Fayetteville on the 2nd, I think, of April, if I'm correct. And so here it is, the 17th. What's that? 15 days.
15.
And our goal is 120 tablets. And we need just, I mean, where are we standing right now, Dr. Carol?
well, I know that Miss Linda Parker, one of the ladies that went with us, she has 8 people that's committed. I have 8 that is committed. Tracy has, I think she's right at that number, and plus, and I hadn't had a chance to check with you and Dr. Norma McLaughlin. I hadn't had a chance, but I think I really believe by June or July we'll have that 120 go.
So if there's anyone out there that's interested, and you're wanting to be a part of this project, whether it be to donate books, whether it be to provide funding, if you want to support a child by sponsoring a tablet or more, whatever the Lord places on your heart to do. I placed Dr. Carol Harris's phone number on the screen. Feel free to get in touch with her and she'll give you more information. I'm going to attempt to show the video. We have a compilation of our visit to the school. Now, Dr. Norma, before I do that, is there anything that you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in order for any of these projects to be functional, there was some infrastructure processes that needed to happen, which was to actually bring in a line or something that they said. I'm not sure what all the process was, but in order for them to have the information and the internet that they needed to use the equipment that we did. So Chosen Pen partnered with them with making sure that was going to happen as well. And along with them being able to do all sorts of internet projects now. So all of that is available to them. We're just waiting on the other pieces that we need, like the Chromebooks, so that they will have more access.
Excellent. That's good to know, because it just doesn't happen. We take so much for granted here in the United States because things come a lot easier for us here. And unfortunately, many of our communities don't take advantage of it to the fullest. These children don't have nearly as much opportunity from as the children in the States do, but they were excited. They were hungry. They were like sponges, They had a spirit of anticipation. And then even the administrators and the faculty and staff, those who serve refreshments to us after, everybody was excited about Chosen Pen, Dr. Norma and her crew being on location. So I'm going to show this quick little video. And again, I certainly hope that my my attempt to play this is cooperate.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are a part of God's great big family, and the truth, love is all we need. We are the world, we are the children, we We are the ones who make it brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free. As God has shown us by turning stone to bread, and so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. We get down and out. There seems no hope at all. But if we just believe, there's nowhere we can fall. Well, let's realize all that a change can only come when we stand together as one. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. In the choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. We'll make a better day. Let's you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own life. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. All right, let me hear you. We are the world. We are the children.
That was so good. Carol, you okay? Carol over there not trying to cry.
I'm not
again.
even okay after that one again.
Everybody okay? Let's all take a deep breath. Let's all take a deep breath. So
It brings some emotional. You know, every time I see it, I get emotional.
right. This because it's a heart matter. This is not just buying books. This is because we have a desire to see more. Dr. Norma, this is just an extension of what you and Pastor McLaughlin have already done. You've been committed to education at the higher level when you were working at Fayetteville State University. You all started New Life Christian Academy here in the United States. You've been committed to the educational excellence of children, even here in the U.S. And so now you're able to take this across the water. That is what we've been doing in Africa, y'all. So if you want to be a part of this, again, I place the information to talk about the literacy program. That's the books. That's the computer. Want to sponsor? Listen, if you want to go to Africa, we're going back in March again, right? There are some other little trips in between, but definitely March of next year. So go ahead and save the date. Let's shift gears if we would, so that we all can, get ourselves together and talk about the other phase of our trip. There was a TEDx Experience. Dr. Norma, talk about it. Let's tell everybody about all that juice in it.
Oh, TEDx. You would think we've been TEDxing for the last 2 years. However, we have not. This particular TEDx, of course, was a chosen pen TEDx Experience with forgiveness across borders. So the whole theme of the experience was about forgiveness. And again, we had some phenomenal panels. People have an opportunity to do talks, to participate on a panel, as well as do a short introductory 90-second to 2-minute introduction about anything at that point. But during that time, we had, I think, 4 panels of 5 or 6 people each who talked about forgiveness and forgiveness in every aspect of the word. I think we can say how Dr. Carol and Miss Tracy went through on their panels and did an exceptional job. I think they had people coming to them, asking them about questions and about the experience, their forgiveness experience, which is what they shared and talked with others. All the way with Miss Anissa, who talked about forgiveness in the marketplace and forgiveness at the bottom line, which is something that a lot of people don't really think about, but how much money that you actually lose in your business because you're carrying around bitterness, animosity, and you're not forgiving the people, and you're not even talking to your people, which causes friction and causes people not to work and do it their best. So we had some very good experiences. I think I served on the panel, of course, the absent father panel, which was a very, very moving panel for all of us. Again, I think that was one of our tearjerker panels because we had men on that panel who talked about their absent fathers and what happened in their lives, or what was happening in their lives because of the lack of a role model there. And the result of that was some of the things that we could do as far as helping those young men to become better, but not only better, but to forgive their fathers for the heart that they are feeling, or that emptiness that they have, and to feel that with forgiveness and love so they can move on to be better young men in our society. So
Right.
overall, it was just, again, it was phenomenal. It was wonderful. We left the TEDx, I think, the better for it, all of us. And we're looking forward for everybody going back and doing their 10-minute talk.
Exactly. So if they're going to join us in March, they can start preparing now. I think that's important to emphasize that when you partner with Chosen Pen Publishing, you do more than just write a book. I mean, if you just want to publish your book, that's totally fine. But you become a part of the family, then other opportunities are afforded you. I'm a living witness of this. Dr. Norman was just supposed to review my book, and here it is 5 years later. I'm still very much engaged in Chosen Pen. So you become a part of the Chosen Pen family, and so not only are you able to, or not only are you positioned because of the work we're doing in Africa to take your platform across to an international space, you can use your voice to make a difference by being a part of the TEDx experience. You can use your influence, your finances, your written word that you have written, whether it's a children's book or what have you, to be able to be an extension of Chosen Pen or collaborated with Chosen Pen and make a difference. So it's not just about writing the book at all at Chosen Pen. There's so much more that we offer. This will be a good time to also emphasize, we talked about Miss Linda Parker that went along with us, who's very engaged in the securing of funds for the laptops. We also had Miss Takia Gaither, who attended. She is a STEM instructor. So she's working with Dr. Norma on creating the curriculum that's going to be used with the children in Africa. We had Keith Sykes to accompany us. He's a brand new author, actually had a book published through Chosen Pen, and he went along as our official Chosen Pen photographer. And it was so funny to see Keith say, as soon as we arrived, you all can just leave me here. I'm not going back. He was very much a part of this project. Everybody added their elements into it. We cannot forget Nico Too Good, who is the first person that introduced us to the opportunity to travel international, and our awesome host, Mr. Kuda himself, who has done a phenomenal job of hosting us. So they hosted Dr. Norma, they talked with you continuously up until the time we arrived, and then they took it from there.
Yes, they talked to us. I mean, they talked to me. I think I talked to between Nico and Kuda probably 2 or 3 times a day sometimes, with Kuda trying to make sure that he was planning the events the way that I wanted it to be, but also the way it would be beneficial to the entire team. And he was really, really excited because he had already met everybody before. And he said, okay, well, Dr. Curl, will this be good for her? Which one would be best for her to go to? She liked this one. I said, okay, I think she'll like that one. And so it was the experience for them embracing us and taking us to heart meant so much, because otherwise the experience would not have been what it was. They took us to the next level just simply because they loved us, I suppose, and wanted us to have the best experience that we could have.
That's exactly, I would say that for sure. So so Dr. Carol was on stage, Tracy was on stage, I was on stage, Takia was on stage, Keith was on stage. So we are all now international speakers.
Yes.
How does it feel to be an international speaker, Dr. Carol?
Exciting. I'm waiting for my, whoo, my, was it the 10-minute one or the
The
18?
10 to 8, you can go
Talk,
10 to
yeah.
18 minutes, no more than
Yeah.
18 minutes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What
So
about you, Tracy?
Listen, it was an amazing experience. For me, it was more of a freeing experience for me. And I'm thankful that I had the opportunity that First Lady, Dr. Norma, has afforded me the opportunity to go and not only go, but to kick fear in the face and to speak my truth.
That was awesome. That's one thing we can attribute. And Dr. Noma, I want to say thank you as well, because whether you want to or not, she just has a way of making you do it. And so
Yes,
as a result of doing it, you are the better for it. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
That's one
yes.
of the things I know she even conveyed many a time. She says, I'm engaged in this process, not for me. I am to bring others along. I am creating opportunities for other people. And that's the her persona. She, ever since I've met her, and you two have known her much longer, but that's what she's afforded. So I reiterate, when you choose Chosen Pen Publishing, you are getting so much more than just a publishing company to help you do what's necessary to publish your book. There's so much more. The and then some is what I call the priceless part of it. And so just to we're 30 minutes into this, and we got so much more we could possibly share, but we want to just go ahead and just shift really quickly, because after all of that emotion that we had going on, I mean, we were on a high. We were crying one minute, we were geeked one minute, we were tired and worn out, and the next minute we couldn't sleep. We had a whole lot in those first 4 or 5 days of us being in Africa after flying 16 hours to get there, that we had to have some time to relate, relax, and release. And so we went to Kruger National Park. I will tell you, that is an experience unlike any other. I just knew Tarzan and Jane at any minute was going to jump out onto the highway. So we stayed at a beautiful chalet. Now I could have stayed there 2 or 3 more days. Let's talk about that in addition to going to Zimbabwe, which was Kuta's, the country he was born and raised with his family. He being a prince himself of his tribe, and us being able to not only experience the chalet at the national park, but Victoria Falls, zip lining. That was the relaxing. I don't know, for some of y'all that didn't sound too relaxing to me, but anyway, to each his own. Let's talk about that a little bit. So let's go in reverse order. Tracy, what about you?
Every experience was amazing. The first amazing wonder of God we saw was God's window.
Oh, yes.
If you have never seen it or heard of it, please Google. YouTube. It's on YouTube. God's window was absolutely amazing. View of from God's eye is why they say it. So that was our first amazing experience. The ride there, the 6-hour drive to Kruger was, it was not uncomfortable at all.
No, it wasn't.
The whole ride, we were able to see different things, and this pure land. I mean, just green and flourishing, rich land that I didn't know that was there. Growing up in America, the only thing that you see of Africa is what they have shown us, and which was like pictures and just like shanty towns and stuff like that. And this country, Africa, is so rich, so I just love to see the beautiful countryside, the beautiful city side. So there was a wonderful 6-hour trip to Kruger. And once we got there, we were able to see, the chalet we stayed at was surrounded by macadamia nut farms. It was just a macadamia nut farm. So that, to me too, I love macadamia nuts. It was great. And then the view from the porch, the deck where you stayed.
Yes.
We have a pool in the center of our chalet.
Inside the chalet, let's be clear. Not another room attached on the other side.
Our personal chef.
Yes.
It was just amazing.
Oh, wait, okay. I'm gonna stop. Carol, go ahead, Dr. Carol.
Okay, so my experience was wonderful, and I was able to experience it with my first granddaughter. I mean, amazing, amazing. She'll never forget it. And I'm telling you, I remember when she got there and she said, "You know what? I thought I was going to see people in huts and this and that." And I said, "No." I said, "Africa, this continent has beautiful countries and beautiful things. You just don't see it." And so when we went to Kruger, she had so much fun. She was out there panting the lion. No, that was in Zimbabwe. I'm sorry. When we went to Zimbabwe, she was patting the lions and the cheetahs and riding the elephants. She asked me to go. I said, "No, I don't think I want to do that." But you enjoy it. But the most part that I loved was the Victoria Falls.
Oh,
That's something that you'll never
oh
forget.
my
I
gosh.
mean, it is so beautiful. And then the rainbow that we would see, a full rainbow,
Mhm.
so it was wonderful.
It
I mean,
was.
I enjoyed myself. I wasn't ready to go home.
Right.
I could have stayed.
Well, we know you could have stayed because you would start. Well, never mind. That's another conversation for another time. So let me just say this. One of the things about the experience that I had a great appreciation for, hadn't really thought about it, is the fact, and Tracy, you made reference to that. Our our chef, Mr. We
EXO.
called him EXO.
XYZ.
No, his name is Exonesis King, but he told us to call his Exo. And he was there to prepare breakfast, lunch, dinner for us in the
Mhm.
chalet because we had an in-house chef, which was wonderful. And of course, he served double duty too. We found out he was also security, so we had backup, which is good. And then our driver, whose name I'm about to miss, Maloko,
Logo.
Maloko,
Maloko.
21-year-old young man, so very responsible, so very respectful. He drove the
Amazing guy.
ding dang out of that van, hauling that luggage in the back. I mean, up those mountains and in those curves. And of course, he was another form of security, but they were with us the entire trip. So not only were we able to go and experience something that we hadn't experienced before, but just like the previous year, we have Nico and Kuda now as like an extended family member. Now we have the two of them to where they said, when y'all come back to Africa, we want them as our drivers. We want EXO as our chef. We want to make sure that we build this relationship, solid, so that every time we go back, because we'll be going yearly again, we go in March 2024, mark your calendars. So we always have these things in place. We don't have to worry about it because we've established those great relationships in the process. Dr. Norma, talk about the trip, because you planned it and you had all those little surprises, like
Mhm.
the 6-hour drive out in the middle over the river into the woods to Kruger National Park. Tell us a little bit about the planning of all of this.
Well, the main thing is all of us had been there in September. And after we had gone to some of the other places, but I thought to me that it would be more interesting to explore Africa, the continent, as much as we possibly could, because that would widen and spread and expand our own horizons. So we had to stop and say, okay, we know we got to get 5 days. We got to go to the speaking and on the tour. We got to do all of that. But what else can we do, and what else can be seen? And we've seen the city. We came home and talked about Johannesburg looking like New York, and everything that we saw was still looking like a city. I said, so we really need to make a comparison. So we need to see the countryside. And we also have already gone on a safari. So if we go see this countryside, we want to go if we see a safari, it has to be something that's different than what we've already seen. So, and it has to be nice. That's always they say, okay, does this meet your expectation? Is this where you would want to go and stay? So we went through all these different pictures and places. I'm like, no, I can't stay there. And so anyway, we ended up on the where we wanted to stay. I said, well, let's do this one, and I'll surprise them when we get there with the pool inside. I'm sure they'll be really, really surprised, and everybody will be happy with this. And it was a seven bedroom chalet with a guest house with 3 bedrooms for what they said the hired help is what they told me. Your hired help would be able to sleep over here with your security and all that, so they can take care of you. So that's what we chose, and that's what I chose because, as I said, because that was our bougie moment. I think we only had maybe a couple of days with it, but it was an experience, and I think an experience that we will always look back on and enjoy. And again, looking out on the fields and looking out on the macadamia fields, looking at people harvesting and driving up there. This we would stop, so everything. The driver was just amazing. He did every couple of hours he would stop and let us do whatever. But I was, like Miss Tracy was saying, I'm in awe the entire time because I'm seeing things that I didn't expect to see. I expected to see the people living in the bush, and that is not what we saw. So South Africa, from everything we saw in South Africa, is not bush. The people in South Africa are not at that point. They're far ahead, I guess, than some of the other, along with Botswana, than some of the other countries that are in the continent of Africa. But anyway, so we did that. But of course, I said, well, we have to also visit and see the what? We had to go see the aisles. We had to go see all the other things that there was to see. I said, because we wanted to also, we made the comparison of South Africa, but then we said the poorest country in South Africa is Zimbabwe. So we left that and went to Zimbabwe. And the main thing in Zimbabwe is Victoria Falls. And it is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. And of course, I wanted to see that just because of that. Although, my knees are not great. So they had a helicopter ride scheduled for me to see the falls. But my people being my people.
We won't bother to tell them how we almost lost you over the falls.
Well, we won't tell them almost lost me over the falls and all those other things. But they did have a chair that they pushed me around, and all of those, 3 or 4 miles, however many miles that we walked of the falls. So I was in the amazement of seeing the falls themselves, was so humbled and so grateful that happened for me, because I did not think I was going to be able to see it, because I didn't think I was going to be able to walk the trail. But the most amazing part, the next day I still had the helicopter ride. So in all of God's sovereignty, I had an opportunity to see the falls from the top and from the bottom. Yeah. And then also they flew us over Zambia, so I also got to fly over another part of another country. But all in all, the falls, everybody needs to go see the falls. It is a wonder. It is amazing to see a rainbow that starts at one end and end at the other. All you can think of is the amazement of God and his promises that he's given to us. And, you just see it right there. I think Anissa stood at the end of it. So she tried to get her promise at that time.
Yes, I was on the trail and I just extended my arms. And when you see the photo, the rainbow was arched above me. So I don't know if that means I'm God's favorite or not, but nevertheless, that's the story I'm sticking with. But it was, listen, when you go to Victoria Falls, my hair was drenched, and it wasn't because we jumped in the falls, but no, it's just the mist of the water. It was like raining. I didn't even care. My clothes we were wet. We were damp. My hair, I could have used shampoo and did a good conditioning. I mean, honestly, because my hair was soaked all the way through, but it was just the beauty of it. I mean, and then one of the things that I personally gained from this whole experience, not just any one aspect of it, was that we were like family.
Yeah.
It was like, literally, not just our intimate group. Even when we had a Maloko and EXO and Kuda, it was still like family. Yeah. They were perfect strangers, but they became like family. And even the personality and the atmosphere of going into the hotels and being served at the restaurants and the different venues that we went to, everybody was so gracious and so kind. And then, of course, when we came back to America, I was like, well, welcome back to the USA. I thank you, Dr. Norma, for pushing and for encouraging and for having the foresight and vision to even want to do this. Many women that are in your age bracket, not that you're in your seasoned years, are just they feel like they don't have anything to offer. But you said it, that you were positioning yourself to be able to offer opportunity for others. And that's a lesson that all of us can take with us. Is that no matter where we are in life, we should be reaching back and bringing someone else along the journey. So any last words, Carol, Tracy, and then we'll close out with you, Dr. Norma.
I just want to say that I want to thank Dr. Norma McLaughlin for letting me be a part of her team, her vision, and us bringing it to life is just a wonderful thing. And I know we still got big things to do, and I know she's going to have more visions, and we're going to bring them to life when we're there.
Yes.
All
I'm
right.
for it
Thank you.
all
Thank you.
as
Thank
well.
you.
Yes. Again, thank you to everyone who's a part of Chosen Pen, but to my favorite person, Dr. Norma, for just encouraging us to just be great, and not only be great with ourselves and in our small communities, but to encourage us to push outside of our comfort zones. And again, forgiveness across the borders, bringing people across the borders, uh, linking us up with other authors that from other states in the United States that we would have never met before, and partnering with them on smaller projects. And I just want to thank you for all of that opportunity I would have never had. So thank you for your obedience to God,
Yes,
and,
sometimes.
and for nurturing us. Thank you.
Right. Right, right, right. Well, Dr. Number, before you share, I just want to say I'm just echoing everything that's already been said, really, and just say thank you so very much. Your vision is I never there's scripture that says that God will do exceeding and abundantly more than we ask or think according to the power that works within us. I never asked or even thought about the possibility of working in this capacity in the continent of Africa, doing the things that I'm doing right now. No thought of this in any capacity. And then in less than a year, I have been I have traveled internationally from the publishing standpoint, and all of that comes because of you being obedient to the call, the one that you did not want to participate in. We won't dwell on that, but you were obedient to the call, and in our obedience, we do open doors for other people, and that's exactly what you have done. So I echo Dr. Carol and I echo Tracy as saying thank you for being the visionary and for doing the and then some, and then allowing us to come along. So with that being said, let's hear you for final comments. But don't forget, you all, we're going back to Africa, March 2024. Save the date, start rolling your quarters now, so you'll be able to make your deposit when we start promoting. Dr. Norma.
Well, I thank each of you, especially for believing in me and my vision and coming along with me as we travel. It's only the beginning. We still have a lot more to do, and we will do a lot more. And based on that, I'll be going back to Africa in May, Carol, Mother's Day weekend, to give a presentation at the Democratic, what is it, Botswana Democratic Convention or something like that. Also in June, Carol, the convention, the summit is June 27th through 29th. They pushed it up to the end of June so that we would be able to come. And I will be doing a speech of some sort. I have no idea what that is at this point. And I've been invited to several other. I don't know how many of them I've been invited to, but or as part of the team have been invited to attend. So we'll have to go through all of that and determine which one is the best one for us to participate.
Great.
But based on that, I can say that I asked God at the beginning of the year that this is my year. I don't know how much longer I'll have to do all these things. So whatever you want me to do, I need to do them this year. And I should not have asked him that because all these things are popping up. But I am thankful, I am grateful, and I'm most grateful that I have you ladies to support in that and traveling with me and ensuring that I can do the things that he has called me to do.
That's excellent. That is excellent. Thank you again, Dr. Norma. Thank you, Dr. Carol. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for everyone who watched and commented. Dr. Linda Holloway sent a message that says beautiful. She was one of the contributors. I think she sent 25 books to be sent to Africa, and Dr. Carol actually read one of her books to the children while we were there. Takia Gaither was one of our traveling partners. She's going to be on next week. She and one or two others, and we'll talk more about the trip, and they'll be able to share their perspective of how things went along. Listen, March 2024, we are going back. There will be another FAB tour, Forgiveness Across Borders. There will be another TEDx Experience. There will be another opportunity for you to collaborate with us, whether you go with us or you support financially or by donating books. We're going to be going back to Robin Hill Elementary to continue our work there. We're going to be doing another TEDx or hosting another TEDx experience. Dr. Norma is going to facilitate that. And then, of course, we will have another promotional tour. That's the word I'm choosing to use for when we go to the over the river and through the woods into the countryside of Africa. You know, we're gonna be country, but it's gonna be a little bougie still mixed in there because you know we're ready for real. So thank you all again for watching us. Thank you all again for showing, for liking and sharing and coming every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back in the Zoom room again, talking a little more about our trip to Africa and our impact, our international impact. You all make it a great day. Thank you again for joining us. We appreciate your support. And don't forget, we'll be looking forward to you going back with us March 2024.